The Heavy Cruiser Mark II build might not be what you're originally thinking. Hey everyone, Derpy here, welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. As we're going through this ship build, there are a few important stats to understand on the hull itself, as well as a brief mention of the upgrade levels that I'm going through. I should also mention that I have taken 3 of these hulls at U1, not fully built mind you, and ran them through these VXP targets and got some pretty mediocre results, which I'm using to base this build off of. I would also highly recommend going and checking out my good friend TSM's video, where he does actually show a few of his fully built up U3 chips driving through the target there. That was very informative and helped me understand a lot of what works or doesn't work. I'm talking about evade here in this video. Now, the base stats here are nothing too special, nothing crazy to look at. It is a pretty standard assault chip. Keep in mind that based off your lab upgrade levels, your stats may vary a little bit from mine. The U1 slot is going to be nice to have because it's only, again, 1 day upgrade time and does have that heavy weapon slot unlocked, and projectile speed is always nice, although you are at really high, insane projectile speeds anyway, so it shouldn't be that important. U2, I do not see as that important of an upgrade. Yes, the corrosive penetrative survival is nice. The evade, not very. U3 is pretty nice in terms of the multi-shot, but that's not a must-have because you already have a pretty high base multi-shot number on here. My impression from these upgrades is that they're really not that exciting, and I'd probably get them up all about the same upgrade level. I plan to build 4 ships at U3 for the first raid. Other people may build 5 at U2, 5 at U1/U2. Now, the important stat on this hull is the built-in weapon here. It says built-in powder keg corrosive pellets that cause damage to enemy ships to detonate upon death, dealing massive splash damage. Now, what this means is that when you shoot at an enemy ship, I don't actually know if drones count as ships, I think they might not, things explode. So that's going to be a way to at least kill the drones when you kill a big major ship. I don't think it's going to let you kill big major ships by killing one drone, but this should help, and it's kind of that twist of what makes this hull work a lot better than the previous hull without being an entirely different, just 10 times the damage numbers, 10 times the survival numbers. That's a conversation for a different day, though. Now, in terms of getting into the build itself, you also, I am doing this in refit mode, so build time is not 100% accurate here. I do have a few things already built out a little bit on my ships. Now, you're going to want to throw on as many of the limited weapon that you have here. If you don't have a limited one, just put on the regular one. I might actually be in the case where I have to do a little bit of that this month, but just throw that on there in terms of the limited, the heavy's the way to go. Keep in mind, you cannot put on any countermeasures on this ship whatsoever. So if someone comments asking, what about countermeasures? They didn't quite watch the video. You can't put countermeasures on here at all. Physically, you can't do it. I'm not sure if in the target itself, if you bring in an older ship, will countermeasures still work? That's something we'll have to see. In terms of armors, I'm actually going to go for 3 corrosive and 2 penetrative if you do have the armor plates to spare here, because I think that corrosive, from watching TSM's video, is going to be a little bit more damaging here, especially if you're trying to auto. So I think 3 corrosive is probably the way to go, but if you want to keep it safe, just go for 2 of each. In terms of these specials, the one you're going to want to throw on here is the engine. Just make sure whatever limited engine you're using, you have enough of them to put on 5 across your entire fleet, same combat speed. You don't really want to be mixing combat speed / turn speed. So that stabilized phosphorus engine is the one I would go for. The second one I'm going to go for is the centrifugal loading system. This does give you +2 multi-shot, which is pretty good. I expect to see a +2 heavy multi-shot added later on, because that stat is actually different than regular multi-shot, so just keep that in mind. Special slot 3 is going to be another one of these limited ones, and that is going to be Corrosive Battery 2. If you don't have this, Corrosive Battery 1 or even Assault Battery are not horrible ways to go here, so there's your alternate special if you don't have this limited one, although I scrapped some free U0 Ravagers Kixeye gave me to put these on these ships. Special slot number 4 is going to be one of the standard weapons over here, standard specials that came with the hull. This is the sulfuric AP rounds. If you don't have this, there are other corrosive damage specials that also do projectile speed upgrades, high velocity or compressed corrosion canisters is the one I was probably, well, high volatility. Yeah, this one right here. This is the second best special if you do have it. High volatility cartridges. I got a little bit confused there. I would go for that one. Sulfuric AP rounds. That's the better one out of these ones here. But if you don't have it, the tier 8 one actually is not a bad way to go. Special slot number, well, it says 6. These are out of order. Special slot number 5 is going to be another one of these standard sort of damage boosting specials, and this is the Full Focus Choke. Tried that out for a name. And this does give you a less spread, more splash, and more corrosive damage. I wasn't totally sure about the spread slash splash combo. I thought it might have been making it so that you did less damage to things, you were too focused, but because the splash is so much higher, I think this is going to help out more than it hurts you. I think splash is probably good here, even if I might take less spread if it were just me, because you're probably already damaging enough stuff here. You don't actually need this minus spread. If you don't have full focus choke, the narrow firing aperture is probably a second best one to go for here, and there are a few other options as well. Now, special slot number 6 here is one I'm going to recommend that people leave blank until we see the flagship, because we all know Kixeye loves to screw around with the flagships. We have one that comes out with, say, 9.35 million armor points instead of 8.35 million. And then everything in the target has King Killer, so everything focuses that flagship, and you need high evade on that flagship. But for right now, the flagship comes out identical to these other ones. I'm building all the ships the same here. And I'm actually going to recommend a speed slot for this one right here. I'm not seeing that evade is too important in this target. I would not use agility system 4 slash guidance scrambler 3. Those are the same special. Agility system 4 just takes longer to build. I would actually use damage diffusion system 2 if I had it, but I don't. You can't actually equip it. It's locked out. So damage diffusion system 1 is a possibility here, but I'm going to go for hyper 30 is one that just gives me more combat speed. That's the special I'm going for in slot number 6 here. 30% combat speed, 30% evade, splash damage reduction, who the hell cares, that means nothing. And this is going to be really, really fast, and is going to try and get around the target more quickly. I really like this because most of the damage people are taking is corrosive, and you can avoid all that corrosive damage if you are going fast enough, or at least reduce it if you're going fast enough. So Hyper 30 is going to be really, really helpful here, and is almost a defensive special because you can outrun your primary source of damage. That's what I like about this thing. Another option for this would include the shaft splitter system, which is over in the limited specials again. This does have some countermeasure benefits, specifically anti-missile benefits, but it does increase multi-shot by 1, not great. Corrosive damage by 20%, not great. So I like Hyper 30 just for going a little bit faster here, and maybe the evade helps out against one missile in the target. I can't quite tell, to be honest with you. The other option you could go for is one that I finally got after how many years of playing this game, which is speed upgrade, although that does help by less combat speed, so kind of just wanted to mention that I finally got that prize after been waiting for so many months. But Hyper 30 is what I'm going to go for here. I will leave that blank. And in terms of my build strategy, I already mentioned I was building 4 highly upgraded ships. That counts the flag. I'm going to spend every single second of every single day upgrading rather than building or refitting things on here, because I'll have enough tokens to refit pretty much everything on. Going into Pillage, I plan to save 2 weeks of Forsaken Mission tokens before that Pillage Forsaken Mission starts, so when the flag comes out, I can spend 2 weeks, earn another one, and spend that on the flagship in Pillage, get that thing entirely built up, and a few other options built up on my other ships as well, as soon as that flag comes out. So essentially, I'm saving all my FM tokens from when I'm posting this until when that flagship comes out. I think that's definitely the way to go. You want to make sure you have all your build options available after you see all the stats here. Now, we don't totally know this. Kixeye can always change something around, which they've done before. They can change something around the raid targets from VXP. Lots of different stuff out there. But this, what you're looking at right here, should be a really standard, simple build and should work very well across the entire targets if things stay remotely similar to what they are right now, or even what you could possibly expect. So Hyper 30 right here is my main difference than everyone else there. I explained pretty clearly why I like that on here. If you do have any questions about this, definitely go ahead and let me know in the comments, Facebook, YouTube down below. I want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone whose names appear on the end screen now. I will be updating this pretty shortly for the month of May. And as always, until next time, this is going to be Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.